How do you share your screen when you're using Ecamm Live? This is one of those ones that really has evolved, and I really like the new way that we can do this. Previously, what I would have done would have created a new scene up here, and then along the top here above my head, we can change this over, and now it's saying to me, what do I want? It's got current application. I can choose different things that are open. So Google Chrome, we've got this window open down here, and I would just share my screen. And then I get an option on a little overlay here to do picture in picture. So I could bring myself on like this. I could right click it. I could put myself in a circle. And then, you know, as I'm scrolling, as I'm doing this down here, I can set that to fit. It's not bad, and to be honest, I still like this one. Well, let me show you the pros and cons of two ways of doing this. I've already mentioned this to you when we've already gone through doing the walkthrough of Ecamm, but let me fit this one under this title correctly. I'll take those bits off so you can see that screen a bit better. But this would be the idea, you know, whether it be this or maybe instead of Chrome, maybe we're looking at the system settings and I'm just trying to walk somebody through some of the settings down here. These might be examples of when you would want to do it. And by the default way, we do this and we can zoom in and out. We can move it around. It does work well. It just doesn't look as polished as the new way that we would do this. So let me create a new scene here, and I would go source, blank, and again, we've covered it in a previous video about putting things in show in background, so that rather than it just being this black that's there, we can put a nice background in. But then what I can do is do a screen share overlay, bring this in, and then when I select over here what I want to show, so we'll stick with this Amazon Live over here, I can crop in on these edges. I hit option on the edges of this. I bring this in. I can lose all that navigation at the top if I want to. And I just think that's a much nicer way to do this. I can, let's actually make that a bit smaller. Probably what I would do is just resize this window so it fit a bit better. And then I can crop in on these edges. This girl's busy over here. So I put this down here. Again, I'm just going to take off the background bit. Now, instead of doing a screen share overlay, I do a camera overlay. And here I come. I can go, instead of wide, we go down to custom, and then I can resize this however I want. And yeah, I just think that's, you know, it looks nicer. There's more creative ways of doing this. I can be rounding off these edges even if I wanted to, and I don't know. There's that one, or there's this one, which, let's bring it back to the same. So I want to take those back off. They're your two options really of something a bit nicer, a bit more polished, or bringing it in with the default screen share. So this is, as I say, the default. We instead of as our source, we select screen share, and we select what element. As long as it's actually on our window at the minute, we could demonstrate this. I just prefer to go blank, start from scratch, and then bring my screen share in as a screen share overlay. It allows me to trim it and do different things and just frame it nicely. Now, what I would say is, if, for instance, I was doing a tutorial on this and I wanted to zoom in on, say, you know, one of these thumbnails down here, with this setup, I can't actually zoom in to go into this book club and coffee. If I go back to this original one, notice that I can just kind of pinch on here, or on my magic mouse, I just run my finger up and down, and it will actually allow me to zoom and reposition this. So there are occasions when I do actually prefer, although it might not seem as polished, and actually I don't need to use the picture in picture here. I can take that off, and I can still bring my camera overlay in and make that seem nice. So I could still take that same idea if I wanted to of sort of framing it and putting myself at the top rather than just the little default one without a border around it. But does that make sense? That it allows me, along my cursor's here in Ecamm, I'm not doing this in Chrome. I can move up and down in Chrome, but if what you're doing wants you to be able to zoom in and out, if I can see people are looking, how to get organized at home is some live going on here. I move my cursor over to Ecamm, and now I could actually zoom in on that if I wanted to. So when I'm doing tutorials and I'm trying to walk people around things, it actually becomes easier for me to do this by being in a default screen share, but that really will depend on you. And we've pulled the same thing in onto 2 scenes, so it might even be that you've got one here that is the old way, and then you've got your nice polished way, and you can actually choose which of the 2 you want to use when you're on your live. So that's how we share our screen in Ecamm. A couple of options there, but it does need to be open, and the important bit is that when you're on here, either this way and it says what is it you want to share, or if you're in this way and that overlay pops up, and again, what do you want to show, you choose which of these elements you want to use. And there you go. Just be sure to pop it in its own scene so you're not fumbling around with this on a live. If you haven't seen the video about scenes, do go and check that one out. Really important, great way to do this. You want to have all this open and ready to go so that I can talk like this and then say, right, let's go over it and show you that tutorial now about Amazon Live. And instantly we just pop across like this and people go, wow, how did you manage to do that? It's because we get it already in scenes in advance, and then I just come back to me over here when I'm ready. So that's how you share your screen in Ecamm.